Good day, everyone. Welcome to this evening's study session. The last few weeks, we've looked at range interaction, cutoff versus button, 40 big blinds deep. And so this gives us an idea of how to play against how to play against a very wide range with a wide range. And today we're going to be changing and moving to how under the gun and the button interact. And so this is going to give us an idea about how to play against very tight players who have a very limited access to part of the range. And so when we work through range interaction, we're going to see what that looks like today. So we'll get into the trainer. And oops. We'll make one modification to this session. Play hints. Strategy. There we go. All right. When under the gun opens, they are going to have a pretty snug range. So what are we going to do with a hand like King 8 of clubs? Fold, call, or 3-bet? And if so, like how frequently are we doing all the three of these?
Yeah, I think we're deep enough to call with king eight. I don't think we have a three betting frequency. I don't think it falls in our three betting range.
Okay.
Three betting sounds pretty cool, but I don't think I do it as often. I think it's fold or three bet more often, though. I don't know if I just call as much. Because,
Okay.
like, they have a lot better kings, and if you three bet, you fold out their better kings. I think if it's, like, it's just plain chippy V, like, I think it's a three bet most of the time. And I think it turns into a fold when we get to more not chippy V. But let's just three bet it most of the time. I think we're gonna three bet it more than we call, and then we might. Yeah, I think we three bet it.
Okay. So Larry, do you think we three bet worse kings or better kings, or do we just not three bet very much here?
Yeah, so obviously this king is drawing to the flush, but we do have some three bets with suited kings. I
Mhm.
think it's a little higher up. I think we three bet a lot with king 10 suited.
Okay.
And I think the other part of our three betting range that's
What about
not
like
nutted is I think we mix with our offsuited aces and
Okay.
then a little bit down at the cusp of our range.
what
But
about
we've
like
got to be
king six?
respectful of UTG's range. He's opening for UTG.
Oh, I love being disrespectful. What about like a king 6? Are we gonna three bet a king 6?
I think king six. I think that part of our range begins to just call. I don't think those low suited. I think we get to play it. I don't think those low suited
Let's take a
kings
look
have a three bet.
and let's see how it goes. 'Cause I think we're gonna three bet much better kings than this and much worse kings than this. But yeah, a little bit of call, a little bit of three betting is definitely fine here. When we take a look at our strategy, it is mostly calling, right? It is not three betting king 6 here. It is three betting this king 8 and king 9. So against under the gun 1, their strategy is going to be suited 9s, offsuit jacks and 10s. And so we want to attack the bottom of the jacks and 10s range. So we're going to use 8s and 9s. So when we come to the button, we are primarily using our 8s and 9s, attacking the bottom of this range. We did get that we're all the offsuit aces, offsuit kings, the offsuit queen that we play, right? All of these ones are going to three bet at some frequency. And then this window here. So not really the worst stuff. A little bit of the worst stuff with a7, a6. A little bit of these suited connectors. a little bit of pairs, but primarily just calling all these pairs against under the guns open.
I
So
might
our
be making a
range,
mistake here. Oh, sorry, to interrupt, Peter. I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I might be making a mistake here, but I just simplify the middle suited kings and aces into like 3-betting king 9 a lot and king 9 suited a lot, and then 3-betting
Yep.
ace 8 suited a lot.
Perfect.
Because I'm not smart enough to mix those at the proper frequency.
No,
I
but
mean, I just pure 3-bet the king 8 suited, so it must be, you know. I was just like, yeah, you know, I don't believe him, so.
I love 3-betting, and yeah, I'm
You
gonna
know
be in
what?
here.
The ace jack offsuit was a very small sliver in I think button versus cutoff. And Cammy was like, I don't care. There's one sliver, I'm gonna do it all the time. So since there's a little bit of a sliver there, then I think that we're correct.
So yeah, I love this too, right? And I'm getting in here a lot, but we're gonna take this and take a look at some of the call lines here. So when we get a call and the big one fold, we're gonna take a look at a flop. And then we can pull up some of these reports and take a look at this stuff here.
So this is a UTG c-betting range, right?
Yeah, so this is UTG's strategy. And so this is across all the boards. So we can see that UTG's strategy has a lot of small betting, right?
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So as cards get together, so the ace and the king get together, there is an element of sizing up, but it's not super prevalent. Again, king queen with a flush draw. There is some sizing up here. We saw a little bit of that before. But again, primarily leading small throughout a very big part of the range. Again, queen 10, lots of polar betting here. So pot and a bit. Jack 10 with a flush draw, lots of potting. We're going to see that with 10-9. A little bit with 10-9. And then as the boards get lower and lower, now we can see that 8-high boards, we lack a lot of top pairs now. And so we're doing a lot of checking. And so we're going to have a very high check raise strategy on boards that are 9 and less, right?
You could see a little bit of a heuristic if you look below, because we begin to check more and more and more as the top card on flop gets smaller.
Yep. And again, if we look at under the guns range, oops. Under the guns range, like essentially once we get into the 7s, they just don't have very many combos, right? They've got 4 suited combos here. Like sometimes they've opened this, so 2 suited combos and sometimes 2 suited combos. So anything less than a 7, they just don't have very much here in range for a top pair. But what they are going to do is leverage their over pairs against the top pairs there. So they're going to play a very high check strategy. The button, when under the gun checks, the button strategy, we'll look at all flops. Again, not really polar betting. A tiny bit of sizing up to like half pot, 3/4 or 80% pot on some really connected boards here. So again, right, like our Jack 9, Jack with a couple of low cards, Queen with a Jack, we see a bit of polar betting. King with a Queen, we see a bit of polar betting. But again, in the same way that under the gun, that's kind of with most of the range in the top half of the deck. The button, that's with most of the range in the bottom half of the deck. And as we get higher and higher with the high card, our check frequency goes up for going check, check on the flop. So as an under the gun player, I tend to play a very heavy check raise strategy on the flop. So when people over c-bet, which is something that a lot of people do because they don't take into consideration how tight that range is, right? As a guy was telling me the other day, think about the range of under the gun. Think about the range of under the gun, right? You know, if you want to start c-betting, you know, 100% of range over, you know, these boards, there's going to be a lot of check raises. So, yeah, when under the gun bets, let's take a look at the button strategy in general. Not much raising. A lot of calling, a little bit of folding.
Very
Then
respectful
button
of
chooses to
UTG's
size
range.
up. Yeah. When UTG sizes up, calling, folding, not much raising, right? So kind of no matter what size the UTG is going to take here, even the 20% sizing, we're going to be very respectful of how strong UTG's range is, right? And so it's going to be an element of, is this hand going to continue? What are our thresholds going to be playing as the button against these various sizes? And so this is going to be a neat thing to look at today.
Are the is our most frequent raise in position and button on a flop that where a straight is present?
So when he has a 20% bet size, this is where we have some raising. And we can see Ace King has a little bit of raising, so that's no straight cards.
Can I ask a favor? Can you, if you go to flops, can you sort by right, go to the right a little bit and then down? That where it says flops, just below that?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then what if you, can you sort that by like raise 55%?
Okay. So looks like paired boards.
Paired boards.
Deuce paired, 3 paired, 4 paired, deuce paired, 3 paired, 4 paired.
That makes sense. All right, thank
Right,
you. I
so-
appreciate that.
It's going to be a lot of the paired cards that are outside of their range, outside of his primary range,
That makes total sense.
right? And yeah, there is some raising with different stuff as well. But again, I see a lot of 2 low card combos here. So,
Yeah, yeah, 2 low cards. Well, one heuristic I can hold on to there is low paired boards to get some raising in position.
yeah, and that makes sense because, you know, look at the under the guns coverage. Just keep doing that. Right? Like
Yeah.
under 7, they just don't have it. And then our button strategy, you know, we still have these suited connectors in here, right? We still have a few extra king danglers in here, right? They're not opening 2s and 3s, right? So we're a little bit wider on this side of the deck. So we're going to leverage that, and when the board pairs with the 4 or the 3 or the 2, we're gonna have some small raises there. All right,
Okay, thanks.
no problem. So we're gonna call. And in the unexciting world of being respectful, how respectful are we on ace 10-9 with no backdoor flush?
Yeah, very respectful. Just fold. It's okay.
Just fold. 100% for Viv. All right, good job.
I did not do a good job of my folding skills yesterday, so I'm taking like maybe 2 weeks off of online poker.
Okay. Ace eight. So we looked briefly at the three betting strategy. We know this is going to be a little bit of three bets, but mostly a call. So 27%. One of the ones we're going to use. Lots of calling. And 6-5, and our opponent checks. Ooh, as it gets lower and lower, we want to bet more and more. Is this a hand we want to bet?
I think we mostly check back. We have a lot of backdoor equity,
Mhm.
but this board does favor us.
This board does favor us. It's going to make us want to bet. Does this specific hand want to bet?
I don't think this particular hand wants to bet.
Okay. So betting
Do
a fair
anything.
amount, but checking is just fine here. And they're all competitive EVs. So let's take a look at the strategy and get an idea here on this rainbow board. So 10-6-5, we can see that our range is checking 40%. Our sizing is mixing small and medium. And what are we betting? We are betting when we have an 8 a lot. We're betting when we have a 9 a lot, but not when we have an ace with that suit. Our ace 7, king 6 want to bet, 9-7, 9-6 want to bet. All of the stuff above a 10 wants to bet. Because we also, remember, this is under the gun, so we have very high weights of queens and jacks in range here. So even though our opponent has queens and jacks and kings and aces, we still have some overpairs here too. So let's take a look at the range breakdown. We can see that it is fairly close on this board. So as the button, we are a marginal equity favorite on this board. And so because we're a marginal equity favorite, it's going to want to bet a bunch. That's 55%. And again, some medium, some small. So if we change this board and give it a flush draw texture, that's going to see what our does to our strategy. Doesn't change this element at all. We roughly bet in the same proportion. But what we don't do is we don't have big bets now. Our bets go from small to micro, from medium to small. So this is much more of a range betty idea now with the flush draw on board. The idea that we flat a lot of suited hands. And so when the flush draw becomes there, it's more prevalent for us. And when we take a look at the ranges, equities are still pretty close, but you can see we went up a tiny bit. Right, so we'll have slightly more flush draws going on.
Ask a quick question. Oh, sorry. That's all right.
All right,
Go on.
but sure. No, go ahead with your question.
Does the frequency of our betting with our particular combo change if, so right now, what's the frequency of our ace eight? Okay, so we're mixing no different because we've just got backdoor flush draws. Now, if you change the 5 diamonds to a 5 of spades, what's our frequency of betting change for the ace 8 of spades? So, okay, so we can't have the ace 8 of spades now, but
Oh,
let's say
sorry.
like the,
Yeah, a 7 of spades.
yeah. So yeah, now we're betting, and this
Terrible.
is important. Now we're betting pure with our front door.
Yeah. So
That's what I
front
was
door,
looking for.
gas on, right?
Yeah, because I guess it's also because we can withstand any size check raise.
Yeah, we're not afraid of the check raise. So
All
the
right,
rainbow
thanks.
texture makes us a little more cautious. All right. Is this just a give up? Not a good card for us.
Yeah, it's a really good card for him. It's an equity shifting card. I think we can follow him.
All right. Very respectful against under the gun one. Just shows up with jacks. Oh, playing with danger. King, queen, 9. Our opponent jacks. Well, we don't have a heart. We don't have a spade. Do we have a prayer with this hand?
So I know that Soda likes to turn our under pairs into bluffs sometimes, but I don't know if this is the right combo.
I got to admit, like, I am praying for the 1-out 6 of hearts here because I don't even want to see the 6 of spades on his turn. Yeah. We'll take a look at our strategy and see where our bets come from on that board, because that is a board that just annihilates the under the gun's range. So when it checks to us, there's still a fair amount of betting, but the betting starts to become polarized, right? It's half pot as the primary sizing and a little bit of slightly smaller.
Yeah.
And
Is that driven by the fact that he's got a significant range advantage on this board? Like,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
imagine this is like a 55, 45, 57, 40 something.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Welcome, William, over there.
all right, I just muted you, Saeed. Let it unmute when you're ready. Free for that. Yeah, we can see here the in position player has 46% equity on this board, right? Looking at all the possible combos and interactions, this is just not a good spot for us.
Yeah, so if we're gonna bet, we're gonna polarize.
So we check, and turn. Our opponent still checks. I am still not itching to turn this into a bluff. I am hoping to take this to showdown, and he's just going to show me ace jack. All right. Still being very respectful. All right.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
Oh.
We've got to call it some frequency here.
I've learned my lesson from 2 weeks ago, and you're not supposed to put one in exact hand, but kings is in range right now. King is in range.
Welcome, Reiner.
Yeah.
Yes, he does have sets of kings at full frequency. Well, at some frequency here. He's bet some of them on the flop and the turn. He's still going to get here with sometimes the pocket kings. But I mean,
We don't have great, we have what are our pot odds? 30%?
yeah, I don't think this beats 30% of his range. Right? I think we still get here with some 9s and lots of queens that we get to call with. So I'm going to fold this.
This is so sus. He might even like turn ace jack face up, and I still might fold 6s. It's like I don't trust anything right now.
So yeah. So yeah, we can see we're calling with a king, we're calling with a queen. Our 9s like are starting to fold, right? Like we have ace 9, it wants to fold. 9-7 wants to fold.
And again, look at how Solver loves to turn these bottom pairs into bluffs.
Get loose with the deuce. Here we come.
Just throwing a random raise.
Well, it does. So the deuces, because it's out of our opponent's range completely, doesn't block any combos of bluffs that the opponent has. So
Yeah, like, yeah, good point. Yeah, like
yeah, it just loves that.
ace 2 suited or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like it's also when we get here with 8-7, 7-6, and 6-5, sometimes just check raising those here. Right? Even 5-4 with spades that have checked back a couple of times, it gives it a blast. So some pretty creative river raises here. But I mean, you're raising into this board. Oh, look at that. He just had nothing. Wait, look at him wait till the river and just bluff it. He's like, I know you're trying to get to showdown with ace high. We're not having any of that. Oh, bottom of range.
I think we continue with two back doors.
Yeah, well, backdoor straight with the Broadway, backdoor straight with the wheel, backdoor straight with the flush. Do we ever have any raises here? I mean, we saw that it doesn't want to raise, but like my fingers are getting itchy.
Yeah.
Why don't we see a turn, Pete, before we start blasting?
Well, I mean, I think, well, what did we see in the range reports, in the aggregate reports? I
Not
was
much.
surprised at the, yeah, I was surprised at the very
Mm-hmm.
low frequency imposition raisings. So I would think we don't get to,
All right. Oh, that
well,
feels a
yeah,
little bit
see,
of
there's,
itch.
we had low
Oh, yeah, but-
frequency. Sometimes you
Well,
gotta
it's
scratch
fold,
that
too.
itch, Pete.
It's because it's also folding too, right? Like this is
Yeah.
not a profitable decision to try to raise this hand, but you know, sometimes I'm gonna be a little itchy. Okay, we gotta give up here. Oh no, this is the worst. We're pretty much
Are you a little bit feeling spidey right now?
well, we're kind of at the bottom of range. We can get better ace highs to fold. Like,
Is it good or bad blocking his ace X? Ace highs, or maybe it doesn't matter this early in the hand with our ranges still pretty wide.
yeah.
But we kind of want them to have ace X of diamonds.
Mhm. I mean, we can like because it rainbow turn, like we can get like we can get ace eight of hearts to fold here now. Right? We can get some better aces to fold.
Yeah, it can be a fine bet or a fine check. It doesn't really matter.
I think there will be some just giving up here because of how tough the range is that we're against, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this hand bet. Oh,
We do
yeah.
have
Oh, it
marginal
bets
showdown.
always. It says no, you're ace
Yeah.
deuce, and you want to make ace eight fold right now.
Well, that's what I said. We're gonna target all the because it's the rainbow nature. We're gonna target ace eight of hearts. We're gonna
So
target
if a
ace.
heart or a spade, actually now I'm interesting it. I guess it's not so important, but if a heart or a spade comes, are we less likely to barrel this ace deuce? I think probably yes, but
Yep.
when it's rainbow, that probably is like, hey, Q.
Yeah, when it's rainbow, we're betting a lot of our range here, and this isn't stuff that contains a queen, or a jack. So yeah, on this, when we turn the six of hearts, our ace deuce is still going for it, but now it bets a little bit smaller, sizes down. So yeah,
So-
it still is a thing.
Pete, in a way, is this the same way like in the previous hand? Not to go backwards, but in the previous hand, the villain targeted our better ace highs with a lead on the river with ace five suited.
Yep.
Yeah, it's similar idea.
Yeah.
Targeting a better ace size and under pairs.
Mhm. Okay, 7, good for us, not good for our opponents. We bet turn. Are we following through on river?
I think that B33 has gotta be the first part of a two street bluff, so I think yes. And yeah, I think. Yeah, could be B59. Oh, we shove it.
Oh, just shove the Christmas turkey. Ace deuce offsuit. If you believe, you have to believe all the way.
Well, I guess that card helps us sometimes, but never him.
Also, it comes down to what we're repping, right? We're kind of we're kind of repping a 4-5.
4-5 is in our range. 6-7's in our range.
6-7.
7-7.
So, what is our strategy here on this river node? It is primarily going all in. It's a super polar spot. We are going all in with every top pair. We are going all in with some, no, we're checking back second pair, the jacks. So yeah, top pair, all in, second pair check back, third pair check back, low pair check back. Ace high mostly checking back here. King high going for it because you get that, you get ace high to fold. And hands like 10-9, 10-8, and 9-8 also all going for it. So yeah, pretty spicy here. Not very respectful. Fern card, river card, outside of the opponent's range. It's time for some disrespectful behavior. All right. Queen jack.
I think this is a fold.
This is like a 90% fold, 80% fold, 10% call to 5% three bet. Like this is pretty gross. Yeah. 75% fold. You want to fold this pure? That's just fine.
Yeah, I hate this hand.
Because it's going to get us in all kinds of trouble. Watch this. Okay, opponent checks. We've got a spade. We've got 3 to a straight. 1 high card, 2 low cards. Lots of checking here, but is this going to be one we bet?
I think we can start because we have a lot of cards that can come that will allow us to continue to barrel. So we do
Yeah.
have the option.
Never going to be a bad strategy against under the gun to check back, but this one is a combo that does want to do a fair bit of betting. So king low low with a flush draw. So remember the flush draw we saw before drives down that sizing. So
Yeah.
instead of having a lot of 55s, we now have a lot of small betting. I think a lot of our small flush draws want to start putting in a little bit of money just in case they turn it. Right. So when we take a look at our draws, our combo draws want to start using bigger sizing. Our nut flush draws have some bigger sizing. Our flush draws have some smaller sizing. And our gut shots mix it up. Right? We also have some backdoor flushes and single card flushes that are using some small sizing as well here too. So really on a flush draw board, our strategy seems to be driven by our ability to interact with the flush part of this. So this has some interaction with the flush. So it's going to drive up our frequency of betting, but not our size of betting, because we still are, you know, in a spot where if we take a look at the ranges, are probably going to be pretty close, and our opponent's going to have lots of strong hands. Yeah, 50, 49, right? And best hands, we have the best hands on this range, right? But our opponent actually has more good hands. So they have stronger kings more frequently here, which is kind of really the bread and butter, right? Even though we have slightly better elements of the best hands, right? So, yeah, just a good spot to check or bet. Our opponent still respectfully checks a card that is good for us, not good for them.
Do we
So-
get to have the same line we had in the last hand? Where we be 33 and then on the right card, bottom river?
Could be right card, the right type of card. So this card probably makes us want to bet more frequently here,
Yeah.
but probably still not big.
I
So
wonder
I
if we have
think
blocker
B30
properties too.
Oh my, look at it. It's going for it huge. Let's take a look at this. Maybe because our queen jack is a low equity realization bluff here. So it is bluffing across all the different sizes and pretty frequently. So sets 2 pair. Yes, we have a fair amount of 2 pair here. King 7, King 5, both turn for us. 5-7 is in range. We check back a lot of top pairs that now want to start betting. We have some under pairs between queens and sevens. We have second pair that our opponent doesn't have that wants to get value. Even our third pair is betting here, wants to get value. Yeah, all these fives are going to value bet here. Okay. And because of our general strategy of being respectful on the flop, we're going to start being a little more disrespectful. So betting big most of the time, betting some small some of the time here. Having a spade is not good now. Block our opponent's continuation with spades.
So I wonder we have more betting options on this node than we did in the last quiz, or in the last. And it's curious. Yeah, so I think we continue our, that card, we have more twos. I think B85 or B148. It's got me worked up after it shoved the last hand.
Okay. Put a king in the box. I mean, I think our opponent's just calling a king. I think I'm trying to get them to fold less than a king. Pocket tens, pocket jacks. Yeah, maybe B85. I could get behind that. Nope, it just shoves it. Oh, again, we bet small before, so it just is shoving. This is a very polar node again. Very aggressive with a king. And bluffing with all these high card combos that we bluffed the turn with. And very polar. And again, like our value, pocket sevens, pocket fives, pocket twos, king 7. I don't know what ace 10 is here. It's a weird line with an ace 10. King queen, our best value. It just shoves it 300% spot.
Which ace 10 is it? Is it all in with?
When you have the ace of diamonds here, like this is
I don't understand. It's weird.
some type of weird anomaly that it picks just this combo, right? Ace 10 of diamonds suited and the ace of diamonds specifically.
I guess you're
guess-
unblocking. You're unblocking the back door and front door. Busted flush draws.
Yeah.
Not flush draws.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so we give it that, and our opponent just shows up with ace 5.
Did
Third
he
pair
hero us?
heroes us for 45 bigs.
Well played.
Ooh. Oh, against this disrespectful size.
No, I don't think we get to fold to this size.
Hmm.
Very hard for us to improve. I don't think we get to fold to that size with the back door.
So if there's one combo that's going to raise, it's blocking the front door and blocking the back door. I don't think we're going to raise very much on a king high board. Just a call. Oh, the board's good for us. The flush completing is good for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of itching.
I want to take a stab in this particular situation. Just because there's a lot of river cards that are really bad. So like, this is a spot I'd go a third or even 55, but maybe that's too splashy with a hand like this. Just turn this into a bluff, semi bluff.
So this is a marginal made hand with a draw. I mean-
It's marginal made, but like, but king and 5 are just extra cards that are bad for us. Ace is terrible. Even like queen jack are bad. So like, I know it's marginal, but because of the extra danger, I'm more likely to turn it into a bluff.
Okay, so you want to try and cash out your equity now before the river comes.
Yeah,
Are you gonna go 55 or 33? Or 83 or 125?
I'm gonna go 33.
Okay. Okay,
Or
cool. It just checks back. Yeah. So let's take a look at all of our range and see what stuff we're betting here. So we're gonna have some trip sixes, we're gonna have some flushes. So 70% check and not really any small bets, right? So the idea here, the value hands that we have are gonna be trip sixes and are going to be flushes, right? So full house, flush, trips, those are our value components. Like it doesn't even really want to bet a top pair on this board anymore.
well, do we have any bluffs then?
Got to.
So yeah, our bluffs are going to come from the ace of spades, particularly here. Open-ended straight draws. So our 87 is going to want to bluff. Some single spade flush draws. So the king of spades, the queen of spades, right, are going to want to bluff. And we're also going to turn like pocket sevens with the 7 of spades, pocket nines with the 9 of spades, right? Some of these pairs with single spades are still going to be bluffing here.
Huh.
So, right, pocket twos with the 2 of spades just blasts. So you are right, like pocket fours with the 4 of spades, it's going to get in here a little bit. So, yep. But when it does, it's going to be polar.
Whoa, deuces is getting in there more than the fours. I like it.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to bluff from the bottom up, right? So it chooses deuces more, and then it chooses threes more, and then it chooses fours a little bit more. And then fives and sixes are houses, and then sevens and eights and nines, right, are even less than twos and threes and fours, right? Like as they have more showdown, they use them as bluffs less and less, right? And then nines kind of unblock our opponent's continuations. Like our opponent's going to continue with their few eights and their few sevens that they have on this board a lot. So yeah, the 9 becomes a particularly unblocked one, right? They get better hands to fold, hands that contain the queens and jacks, so they don't block the folds that we really want, and they don't block the opponent's interaction with the 6 and the 5, right? When they have a 7 or an 8 in their hands. But yeah, primarily a check. There is a little bit of betting here, but again, when we look at that betting, it's going to be polar, and it's not quite represented here with 2.7%. But if you are betting this, and you had the right idea, Ryan, 55%, just a little bit of a size up. It's a polar spot. 1.
One. Holy cow.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Is he baiting us?
I mean, you talk about disrespectful bets. This feels like a slap in the face. I'm flicking it in just so the table can get information on this guy. But that I know we're not supposed to make spike calls, but anyways, I'll mute my mic.
No, that's reasonable.
Oh, yeah, we're not folding.
We're not folding, not for like 10 to 1, 11 to 1. Right?
Yeah.
There you go. Way to flick it in for spite chips. Pocket jacks, no spade.
Did a bet turn? Just kidding. He's calling for sure.
All right. Oh, the church. So, how frequently are you three betting? How frequently are you calling? I will tell you, you got to mix this.
Yeah, I think it's like a 50-50.
I
like
was gonna
that
say
answer.
50-50 also, because we want to invite the squeeze out of the blinds.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 50-50. Good spot. Nothing makes me happier than getting squeezed by the blind. This guy folds and we just stuff the turkey. They're like, what's up with that? Oh boy. I mean,
We just
3,
call.
10, 7.
I don't think we have any position raises. I don't think we fold.
Little bit of raising. So I think part of it is there's going to be a lot of turn cards that are bad for us that fall below the ace and the king. Queen 10, 7 rainbow. So rainbow is not good for us. We like it when it's a flush draw. But yeah, this hand is just going to be one of those hands that it's able to turn into a bluff that's going to balance when we have pocket kings here. So.
So we've got our best non-paired hand. So I think with this particular combo, we do a lot of checking back.
Okay.
Also, luck.
Are you preparing to bluff the spade run out?
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
Oh, we don't get to find out. Wow, I mean, this
So was
board
that
is
like a B30?
it comes out with about a 33% size. This board is fraught with peril, but surely if we're gonna have a raise, it's gonna be this hand, right?
I'm not, yeah. If we raise, do we fall to a shove? First
Or do we
question.
just shove here?
First question, if we raise, do we fall to a shove? Question should be asked anytime before you hit the raise button. Or at least that's what I tell myself, and then I don't do it. Yeah, I don't know what the right raise size is here. I would imagine. I mean, so I don't. I wonder if the ace blocker to his flush draw matters. I don't think it does.
So
Yeah, I think we mix between like a call and a dumb 35% raise.
would you rather raise ace king or ace jack?
Yeah, I guess ace jack. Well, I mean, ace jack is an absolute required raise.
It is primarily calling, but if you're spicy and you know it, go for a raise. You just get called by ace.
Yeah, so
Let's take a
nice thin value Peter.
yeah. See if ace jack raises a little more. I think ace jack is going to raise a little more. Yeah, ace jack is just going for it. Oh, that's sorry. That's yeah. Our ace jack is even just stuffing. Oh, of course, ace jack's a straight.
Yeah.
What did I say? King jack. King jack. King jack, not really going for it. Only when you have the club, right? Unblocking all of the other stuff an opponent can have. Ace king goes for a thin value, a very small amount of the time, right? Every other king just calls.
What does filter say? Yeah. That's it.
So it looks like straight and better. Right, we just don't have two pair in range here. So. Yeah, full house or nothing. Okay. So very rare spot to find thin value against under the gun. Okay, how frequently are you three betting this combo?
Yeah, this is the bottom of our ace X range. I think we three bet it more than we call.
I think I'm gonna go the other way.
65.
Okay. Yeah, 50-50. Both are very prevalent. You can definitely go either way here. I'll tell you, against any other position but under the gun, this is a very high frequency three bet. Ooh. Flush draw, flop straights, locked up equity. We get here with a pretty strong value hand. Face a disrespectful bet. Is there anything to do but call?
I think we can raise versus sizing as well. I think it's gonna mix call and raise.
If we have a spade, do we raise more often or less often?
I think less often.
How big would you raise then here? 55? 83?
Not 83. Yeah, probably 55.
Yeah, I mean, there are flopped straights here. I don't think either player has 69, but both players have Jack 9. I think it's going to be a really high frequency call. little
Raise is
smaller.
33, but yeah.
So, yeah, we'll give it a little squeeze. And our opponent just calls. Card is good for our range, not good for the opponent's range. Are we going to continue betting here? And if so, how big?
I think we're mixing checking and betting, and when we're betting, it's gonna be like 55 or 83.
Mhm.
Probably checking like 40% of the time though.
Yeah. I think because there are so many bad cards for us on this board, it is going to have some bigger bets here. Yeah, I can see like 40% checks, 40% 83, 20% 55.
Yeah,
Just 50,
checks a lot.
right? Opponent called our raise, pruned the tree. Don't block spades. Do we get to go for thin value?
No, we need a spade.
100% check. When we take a look at this, we'll go back and we'll take a peek at that flop. So ace 10 with the 10 of spades, with the ace of spades, raising a little bit. And we raise call. For this, our opponent checks button. So on this turn node, our ace 10, when we have the flush draw pure, it's betting. And the ace of spades or the 10 of spades is no longer really good enough to bet here. Right back is just fine, and our opponent gets here with king jack. All right. A lot more. Oh, 8, 9. Love it. 8s and 9s. How frequently is this a raise?
I don't think we get many raises with this
Okay.
combo. Mixes
You
up
want to raise
almost
the
pure
worst?
call.
Okay. Raising the worst
I
ones.
think I think there is your suited nines, so I think this is gonna get in there. Maybe like 15%, but mostly call, I agree.
We're gonna find some more raises with the suited connectors that are a little worse than this strategy. Yeah, if you want to get a little spicy, a little caliente, let's go. Ooh. Ace with a flush draw. 9-8. Well,
I'm
opponent
always
has
betting this hand.
really. All right.
Nick theory optimal.
Well,
So-
we have one of our worst hands and we have a straight draw with it.
We saw that the flush draw drives down our sizing and drives up our frequency. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this betting some B20, some B33. So I think those are going to be the primary two actions here. Let's take a peek. B20, B33. It can go a little bit bigger as well and have occasional checkbacks. It's just going to be one of those spots that's highly mixed, but we'll take a look at the strategy as a whole here. 60% check in range, 40% check across, betting mostly the two small sizes, a little bit of the bigger size too. We want to use the bigger size 5-4, 6-5.
What about 7-6 spades?
Nope,
Oh,
7.
can't have that, sorry.
Um, $98 of spades, small, 98 off, sizing up. So yeah, here we can see the spade effect wants to be betting small. The non-spades want to size up a little more frequently here. So that was with our specific hand. Wanted to size up a little bit more. Right? The spades really want to drive down that sizing. This hand benefits from generating a little more fold equity.
Yeah.
Flush completing is good for us, particularly the higher the card, better it is. But our opponent has lots of jacks, lots of aces still.
So the higher the card, the better it is because it eliminates villains completed flush draws.
That's right.
Okay.
We have slightly more flushes at the bottom of tree, and they have slightly more. And we have the same amount at the top of tree. So the higher up it is, the higher up the flush completes, the better it is for the out of position player. Slightly. Right. So now we not only have a 6, we have a 10, the double belly buster. Picked up equity. Do we just want to try and realize that equity, or do we want to try and bet here? No spade, no ace. This has got to be pretty bottom of range for us.
Well, then, and we also picked up equity, bottom of range. Sounds like a recipe to polarize.
All right.
Yeah, I'm betting 55 or 83 here most of the time.
That is a great answer. Pocket fours. Do you believe he floated that flop with pocket fours?
Back to
Alright.
flush.
Oh my goodness. How's this in here? I hope we're not calling this in. Oh, is this really in here? Did I just put a few pieces of trash in? Okay, who's calling this? Who's folding this?
I think this is a fold.
Jam.
Jam. Go get some toast, Nick. All right, ace queen. Ooh, dangerous waters.
This mixes, I think.
I think this is mostly a call.
I like calling with
It's
this.
like 80% call.
Yeah, 65. Very good. Ooh. Jack, rainbow, somewhat connected. Is this just a fold?
I don't think we fall to that sizing.
Alright. I mean, he's betting into a board that's pretty good for our
we
boards.
don't have that much interactivity. Yeah, like you're saying, we have a lot of interactivity with our overall range, so it's not like, you know, if we're playing the MDF game that we really, really have to defend. And I feel like we don't have to necessarily defend, but we're in I feel like I make this call too often. But yeah, you're right. Our range has like a lot of 10x, a lot of 8s, a lot of jacks, a lot of, you know, backdoor draws that we don't have the float ace high on, say, when the board comes like jack, deuce, 5, and we don't have as many defends, you know.
Yeah, I have to say, like, we have so many hands that have a 10, a 9, right? A pair. I mean, I'm thinking this might just be a fold. Like, this is a board, remember, the lower the top card gets, the less our opponent is inclined to bet. But I mean, it wouldn't
think it's-
surprise me if this calls one street.
Yeah, I think it's mixing. I think it's gonna be mostly a call with slivers of fold. No, just always
Oh.
calls.
With slivers of raise.
Oh,
Savage.
like the savage. I mean, yeah, it's a very strong hand, so we're not like just looking to muck it.
Oh. Our
But
opponent gets a
it's
card that's good for them and continues with a very disrespectful bet.
I was watching the final table of the Sunday special because of just I was watching it because I banned myself from poker. And I couldn't ban myself from poker. I was watching it and people that do small, I mean, it's becoming a thing.
Uh-huh.
I guess people are studying solvers and seeing that it's a small is a thing. And now you're like, oh, frick. So I wouldn't continue versus the big bet, but now I'm gonna have to continue.
I think that card is really good for UTG's range too, Viv, so I think that allows him to have small bets, I think.
No,
It's-
sounds right.
It's also, again, the nature of the rainbow king is that we didn't pick up equity with any flush draws that we floated with diamonds, hearts, or spades here. So I can believe if there's a king that our opponent bets, this is going to be the king that our opponent bets. But I
I
mean,
think this is mostly a fold with slivers of raise.
oh my goodness,
Yeah,
it is
call with
still
slivers
in
of
there.
raise.
Is it pure?
Wait, it was a pure what? Pure call?
It was a almost pure call. There's a little bit of raising.
So villain doesn't have, queen 10 off. He has queen 10 suited. Which- 3 combos.
We got this far
is-
and now we have to just
Is the queen
happen.
an important blocker here?
10 or the 9 is an important blocker, I think.
I think the queen's important and we river top pair. Normally when you river top pair, you're blocking river 2 pairs, so it's gonna push it to a call pretty often.
I think it's gonna call, but you ever get the feeling that you've just been set up by the jab, and now here comes Mike Tyson around the corner with the haymaker? What?
This kept
0 EV.
this kept happening online. You know what? I'm pissed off at poker right now. And now I just got re-traumatized with this.
I love it. All right, let's find a couple good more.
Meditation, Viv. You need some meditation.
Meditation definitely helps. And then call.
Meditation. Calm green ocean. All right.
I folded on the flop, so I didn't have that problem. I know it was a couple big blind, like a 0.14 big blind, so 14 big blinds per 100. But I spent 14 big blinds per 100 to not make that 12 big blind call on the river.
What is this float? What the hell?
I mean, it's out there, right? Like,
I'm like visibly mad that there's calling.
that you're supposed to float 9-10 offsuits here a little bit. I mean,
Is it just one of those air balls that you get to pick it up on the turn and you get checked to?
Well, it's the sizing, right? Like our opponents, like to meet MDF, we have to
But it's
defend.
9-10 with no back doors.
Yeah, we have to defend 89% of our range, and so if you're folding 9-10 pure here, like it's just over folding a little bit, which makes it like this 20% sizing a very efficient bet. Like we were all thinking, hey, this 9-10 is a snap fold. Well, this 9-10 is gonna have to call, and this 9-8 is gonna have to call, and this 8-7 is gonna have to call, and
Holy
this
shit, why is
7-6 is gonna have to
8-7
call.
calling? I understand 9-8, but like 8-7 doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Yeah.
9-10, you can turn a jack and you know, you can turn open-ended. 9-8, you can turn a 10 or a jack. 8-7, you can turn a 5 and turn a gut shot.
Yeah. So as you go down here, like you see a little less, like 8-7 and 9-8 are not really calling with the offsuit or with the non-suit connected brands, right? 10-8, 10-9 is the one that connects with the queen, so it calls it, right? And Jack-9 the same. So there's a little bit of that. And you can still pick up second pair here against this disrespectful bet size. But I'm still folding easy. Pocket fives. Yeah, like we could just turn second pair here.
Actually, that's the part about being in position versus being out of position.
Yeah.
Out of position, you're like, ugh, you overfold MBF a lot more, and in position, you underfold MBF sometimes. Anyway, yeah, I think we want to fudge. We don't want overcards. He's checking to us with ace king so he can check raise in our face, but I think we're gonna bet just because we can. We can go 33% here. We have ace-7 of clubs right now. Just pretend that we have
Okay.
ace-7 of clubs and bet 33%.
I haven't looked at this, but I'm gonna guess our low pocket pairs are high frequency bets, like the pairs under the 5.
So, but mostly it'll be twos and then it'll be threes and fours, right? So like fours are only going to do it a little bit. Or maybe they're going to do it a little more with the straight interaction with the 7, actually. But I mean, I'm still checking here a lot.
Yeah, I think this is primarily a check.
Primarily a micro bet. Yeah. All right, seating. Take it easy. Thanks for checking in. And bluff those in later. Okay. As played, let's give it a bet, and our opponent raises. Can we please get out of this spot?
Yeah.
Look at this disrespectful size. Oh my goodness, it wants to call. You gotta be kidding. I'm just getting out. It's got his queen. All right. We saw this earlier. The worst way to get in trouble on the button, flat queen jack off. If you flat it and you know it, flop the nuts. Oh, just blast 55% pot into us.
Yeah, I think, yeah, clearly a fold. I mean, but we do have a little bit of nut advantage on this board, don't we?
We have a ton of nut advantage, and look at him blast us off a bigger hand. Jack 10 suited. Like take your 7 high board and polarize this. All right.
We have to call.
There's no folding, that's for sure. There's no folding with a pair and no folding with a spade to this size.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think there's any reason to turn this into.
I
I mean,
break
if we
my
bet, I
wrist
think it's a
checking.
definition of merged, so I think we check.
Oh, look at going for some thin value to get value from his draws.
I wonder if it's just like trying to buy river.
Yeah,
Well, you bought river, you got a price that you can afford to pay. I mean,
yeah,
this
I
is a
think we
pretty easy
just,
call,
I think
right?
we have to call.
We unblock
You're
all
right,
his
1 out of 5
spades.
times.
We beat ace 5
This
of
might
hearts.
mix. Yeah, I was gonna say might mix. Like sevens with a spade is a pure call.
There you go.
Got him.
Let's do one more. Good one. Oh, queen nine. Ooh, how frequently are we three betting this?
I think fairly frequently, like 50%.
Okay.
50 to 60%.
Maybe a little spicy, a little, but yeah, I like it. I'd give it about 33 here, 33%. Yeah, 40%,
Nice.
very good. As long as you're finding some three bets with this combo, this is a really good one to do. 2 weeks from now, we'll look at the three betting side of this equation.
Is this the first time we've actually had top pair?
Top pair, straight interacting kicker, no backdoor flush. That 20, bet 33.
I think this queen is gonna be the one we check the most, but I think it's gonna be like 40% check, still mostly betting.
Do we check
And
this
because
queen the most because it's our lowest queen?
yeah, it's our worst queen.
Lowest kicker queen, I should guess.
Yeah, we had that ace 10 earlier that was tough. Yeah, okay. High frequency check. High frequency small bet. Oh, look at it. We checked. We have induced. The moose is loose. Can we just call?
I think we have to raise now.
Raise.
You see, so 4, 4, 8, 14.
I want to keep our
It's gonna
opponent
do both. It's gonna do
bluffing.
both. Pick your poison.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty high frequency call, but all right. How big are you guys going to raise if you're going to raise here?
I would call here, but Nick is a more aggressive player than me. So Nick, what's your raise size?
But yeah, if you both want to call, we could definitely call, but I'm gonna be starting to bluff now that there's more draws available and like I can start bluffing diamonds. We don't need to have that many bluffs, so I think we're gonna go fairly polar, but we're also pretty capped, so probably 55%. I think it's gonna call maybe like 50% of the time, but I think it's gonna raise pretty frequently. I could be wrong.
Okay, let's take a peek.
Here, call.
Pretty big call.
Too aggro. Too capped.
Remember, our opponent checks back like really strong queens too, right? Like they still have king, queen, and ace, queen in range here. So, but we're not afraid of the monsters under the bed, are we? Ooh, do we go for value here? Blocking the straight, not blocking the flush.
Against this sizing, I think we do.
I mean, we found the unicorn with that ace king going.
But
for
we
this.
have to ask, do we fold to a shove? So, yeah, I think we raised 54. I think we're in the weeds here. We're hiding in the weeds because we called time. So we've
Miserable.
got to raise here.
I
So
think
is it-
it's mostly a call.
Mostly a call, occasionally a shove.
Is that because it's hard to see what we'll call a raise? That's worse.
No, it's just like we're kind of far down in our value range with trips here. Like a lot of our stuff that calls the turn gets there. We'll have 9-10 still. We'll have a lot of flushes. So I don't think Queen X is very high in the range to raise. I think it'll still get in there, but I think it's going to be mostly a call.
100% of queens beat us. So like, cause he
Yeah,
doesn't have
there's only
queen
one
five, queen
queen
four, right?
left in the deck.
Yeah.
All right, 100% call.
Alright, you guys are right.
No spewing, no spewing. Can't get called by worse. Whoa, he
There we
gets
go.
off the hook. All right. Thanks for checking in for today's study session, guys. I'm glad we had it. I hope everyone got to learn a little something. Congrats, Larry, who said he'd gone out and taken down taken down an event on Global. He is now a GOAT, one of the greatest of all time on Global.
Wait, which event did you win? I'm jealous now. Cause I was
Big-
trying really hard to
Big
get a
double
damn goat
deuce.
for like
Yeah, I
4,000.
won the 22 last night.
Yeah,
Nice.
so just
Awesome,
just
Joe.
keep tuning in,
Thanks,
keep
guys.
studying, and keep getting better. And congratulations.